Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be going over the type of armor that I've chosen to use. So I've been getting a couple of questions over the last couple of videos of what exactly it is I'm running. So I'm going to kind of go over, do a real quick breakdown for you guys. Show you what it is I run, why I run it, and kind of something that might help you in setting your particular system up. I do run everything a very specific way, keep it as minimalistic as I possibly can for a couple of very good reasons. And I kind of go over those to you today. And you kind of make your own decision based off the information that I give you here. I mean, it's your stuff, you do what you want with it, but this is how I like to run everything, and it does work fairly well for me, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so starting out with the carrier itself, one of the things I often get asked is, hey, what kind of carrier should I buy? And my advice to you is go do your research, figure out what style it is you like. If you can, go try them on, figure out what's comfortable to you, figure out what you want to get and what works. Because everybody's body's built differently and everybody's going to end up liking different things. And my recommendation may not be something that's particularly good for you and for your body type. But in this instance, this case is made by Eclipse Performance Military Gear. So these carriers are actually contract carriers that are for the military. You can buy them surplus. This one I ended up getting from a buddy. I did not disclose or pay for this, did get it for free, but honest opinion, I would buy one of these just in a medium, not a large, because as thick with 3 C's as your boy is, the large is a little bit more cumbersome than I like. Now I will end up swapping over eventually here to, or very soon here, to a Cry JPC Coyote, but it will look exactly the same as this as far as the setup of magazines. Only difference is there will also be comms on this as well, because me and the guys that I run and shoot with, we're gonna hear soon we're gonna all start running and working with comms and everything too. So but my advice is do not cheap out on carriers and armor. Now I know James Yeager just come out with this whole video talking about his AR 500 gear and everything, and the carrier particularly he's running I don't know much about, don't know how good quality it is or isn't. I'm not gonna say anything to that, but I do know AR 500 is for targets, not for armor. You do run a very high risk of spall coming out from the PaxCon bedliner bullshit, whatever coating they put on those, and causing serious injury or death. Any risk of that happening is too high whenever you're doing something as far as armor is concerned, something you're going to be trusting your life on. So go ahead and spend a little extra money and get sappy plates on the ceramic plates. Be glad you did if you ever ended up needing them. So the particular plates that I have in here, they're just some regular old level 4 E-Sappies, little green ones or whatever that you can get. They're a little bit more pricey than what you can get from like say Hoplite or something like that, but they are very well built plates. I did end up getting 3 of these so I can test one, and the one that I had tested, I had shot it with AK-47, 5.56, or 7.62x39, 5.56, 300 Win Mag. And it did end up stopping all of those a very close distance as well. 300 mag was the first one that I shot into it, and it's a fairly close distance. It was just a 200 grain soft point, but did manage to stop that, and so happy with how that comes out. And it's ready to stop everything up to 30-06 armor piercing. Now this armor is backed by some level 3A soft armor, I think is what it is, whatever stops the 44 Magnum loadings, everything up to 44 mag, so you do have that protection on your sides as well that it kind of extends out. That does make the armor bulky, but does add that little bit of extra protection if it is something that you do want. Moving on back to the types of magazine carriers or magazine pouches that I use. So the 2 outside ones that are flanking the tacos are one of them I was issued, and the other one I ended up buying because I actually like the design of these a whole lot. But shortly after I had purchased this, somebody turned me on to these HSGI tacos. Do like these a lot. I do know some people that don't like them. They say their magazines fall out. I don't know if they're not retaining their strap or what, but I've never really had an issue with mine. Not to say that it doesn't, but I personally haven't had that issue, and these have been through a ton of shit, so they've always worked well for me. It seems to me that they're fairly well built magazine pouches. Alright, so hydration is last. It's just nothing really simple, nothing special about it. It's just a Camelback hydration pack with a 2-liter bladder in it. I mean, nothing really much to say about them. They're proven systems, and obviously I'm going to end up getting this in the M81, the Lord's camo. Best camo ever made, in my opinion only. Your miles may vary with that. But in conclusion, as far as plate carriers go, kind of alluding back to the thing that James Yeager was saying, a lot of guys were talking to him about having too much shit on his carrier, and that is absolutely true. He is, one, way too high at the front. When you start triple stacking mags, You go try and go prone, you're going to be a high-ass target. You're not going to be able to get low enough. And I mean, that's something that James Yeager should really know about. He actually ended up having to go hide in a ditch when he got into a firefight, so that's probably why he likes to have those 3 there, because he knows he can just go hide in a ditch again. But keep everything simplistic, keep everything stupid simple on the front, especially up here. That way you can lay nice and low, and if you had to go prone, which chances are if you get in a firefight you will, end up going prone to kind of prevent yourself from being shot. Smart thing to do. Also, flaring shit out the side, so whenever you're this much wider on each side of your pack, you're looking at a freaking 2.5 foot wide, 3 foot wide, and it's going to be really hard for you to get in and out of vehicles and maneuver in and around vehicles with that, especially if you're in the driver's seat or passenger seat and vice versa, and you have to climb the other direction through the opposite door in order to get out. When you've got tons of shit that's going to be hanging up on everything, that's going to get you killed. So keep everything on your carriers simple. These are already bulky as hell. Don't make them any bulkier than they absolutely have to be. But moving on to the belt. So this is pretty much an exact replica of how I have my belt set up while I was in the service. A couple things aren't the same as they were while I was in. The padded portion of itself, this is the exact same belt that I had. It was the Vikings Tactics. It's made by 511, but it's a Vikings Tactics. It's the sleeve that you actually slide your belt through. And I had a Cobra buckle belt. This isn't the same one either. It's a new one that I had bought because I'm a little bit thicker with 3 C's than I was while I was enlisted. But very similar buckle here. This is an actual Cobra buckle to it. It's not a knockoff, so this is real deal here. HSGI makes the belt. Yeah, padded portion 511. These are a fairly rigid belt, and they kind of wear real easy, real comfortable to wear, and distribute everything evenly around your hips, which is why if you're going to be running tons of stuff on your belt, or if you're going to be running tons of stuff on your body, instead of putting it on your armor, run on your belt, because you've got this entire surface area that you're actually putting all that weight on. It's going to be riding around your hips instead of pulling down your shoulders, and it's lower. The center of gravity is going to be lower as well, so it's not going to fatigue you quite as much. It's not going to feel like you're carrying quite as much weight. A couple things that were different now than they were then is the I had a single one of these. I had a double, just like what I've got here, and then a single as well. Reason being, weren't issued, your standard 0311s weren't issued handguns, so I didn't have a reason for handgun pouches per se, but I did use this secondary pouch for a Gerber multi-tool. Never kind of know what you might need one, and they're always good to have, and I did actually use it with me. I do still have it too somewhere. I think it's sitting in here somewhere. I do still have that same Gerber multi-tool though. But now, obviously, I run handgun now, so I've got a couple of spare handgun magazines. I don't carry a lot of spare handgun, just because I don't really feel it's needed. It's a secondary, and it's if your rifle goes down, you need to get your rifle back up, and you're still in the fight. Pull your handgun out, engage, get to where you can get your rifle back in the fight, get your rifle back in the fight, and then keep going. So that's kind of my thought process there. I don't carry tons and tons of spare pistol ammunition. I just carry the 2 spare mags and the one that's going to be in the gun as well. So it was what, 30, 45 rounds. 47 is just a 17 rounder. Glock 17 mag. But anyways, again, HSGI for the front 2 pouches, and this is actually one of the pouches. You can kind of see all the grime and shit that's on it still. This was a surplus pouch that I actually had purchased before I even got in, but it's just your regular flip pouch, just a spare magazine that's back there, just an extra pouch that I had, and I kind of kept that on there for nostalgia. I could have put another one of these, but just for the kind of keeping the same look as I had while I was in, that's why I put that there. Knife, this is the same little Molly adapter that I had. It's a K-bar adapter, but the knife that I actually use, which I will grab for you. This is the actual knife that I used. It's a memorial knife, one of the Seal, the Mark Ailey memorial knives. You can kind of see it's a little bit used, a little bit beat up. But this is the knife that I actually carried, but I mean, it's significantly larger than this one is, and just kind of for civilian purposes, I don't really need a super massive knife on my kit, so I just run this. It's a Benchmade as well. It's a Navarra. I think it's Navarra, something like that. Something weird. I can't remember the exact name of it. Probably written. No, not written anywhere on it. But painted the handle. Just kind of get rid of the black, and so it's not really breaking up the theme of the earth tone colors that I've got on here. But good knife, 154 chrome moly steel. Retains an edge very well. Razor sharp, sharp enough to shave with. So good knife there. Moving on around, IFAC is also different from the one where I was issued. The one I was issued was a lot more bulky than this, and I was able to keep a lot more shit in it, but I really didn't. I kind of packed everything that I feel I would need in this. So I've got 2 more tourniquets. They're going to be stacked up top, and then I've got a layer of 4 combat gauze, the quick clot gauze underneath that, and then a couple of regular ones. I've got 2 chest seals, 1 for each side. I've got 2 needle decompression to treat tension pneumothorax in here as well as an IV stent. So a couple of things, everything you really need to treat on a basic level for gunshot wounds or any kind of injury such as that, to kind of keep the guy alive until professionals that actually know what they're doing get there to render aid. Holster, I am having a holster made for this. I have been running a Safariland. It was just a regular generic, not nothing super special about it. That's form-fitted for a Glock 19 with a TLR2. The one I'm getting is going to be a Kydex with the thumb retention, and it's going to be on a mid-ride, so it'll sit a little bit lower. That way I'm actually able to draw out of armor. The one that I've got currently, the way it's set up, I can't draw from armor. So, and it's also not a retention holster, so I don't want the gun falling out. When it's up on my hip, I don't have that problem, but if it's down by my leg flopping around, I feel like it might fall out, so I'm not even going to worry about running that until I have the new holster built. But yeah, guys, so that's pretty much my setup that I'm running. So everyone that was asking about the armor that I'm using, that's generally what I do. The reason I run everything slick, obviously, is for mobility purposes. So if you're getting in and out of vehicles, something of that nature, you want to keep everything as minimalistic as possible. That way you're not having to worry about snagging and catching on shit. So whenever you see somebody like Jaeger who's got umpteen million things hanging off of his gear, I learned this lesson the hard way. Don't overpack your plate carrier. If you got a lot of extra shit to carry, get a fucking pack. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Keep it stupid simple. Alright guys, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, happy shooting.